The champagne flute shattered against marble, spraying glass across Tamara Johnson's burgundy heels. She didn't flinch. After 3 years coordinating upscale events, broken glass was the least of her concerns. What worried her was the bride's mother screaming at the caterer, the string quartet playing off-key, and the fact that she'd somehow lost track of 50 white doves that were supposed to be released during the ceremony. Somewhere in this sprawling Connecticut estate, those birds were probably destroying a priceless antique. Tamara pressed 2 fingers to her temple, willing away the headache building behind her eyes. Her small company, Elegant Moments, couldn't afford another disaster. Not when she was already 3 months behind on rent and her mother's medical bills were piling up faster than she could count them. "Please, I'm begging you. Just 5 minutes." Tamara spun around, nearly colliding with the man who'd appeared beside her. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, with dark hair slightly disheveled and blue eyes that held pure panic. His expensive navy suit was perfectly tailored, but he was breathing hard, like he'd just sprinted across the entire property. Before she could respond, he grabbed her hand. "What are you doing?" Tamara tried to pull away, but his grip was firm. "Not painful, just desperate. 5 minutes. Pretend you know me. Please." He glanced over his shoulder and Tamara followed his gaze. A woman in a tight emerald dress was scanning the crowd, her expression predatory. "She's going to find me and I can't. I just can't deal with her right now. Sir, I'm working. I don't have time for whatever game this is." Tamara kept her voice professional, though her heart was racing. The last thing she needed was to get involved in some wealthy person's drama. "I'll pay you. Name your price." His voice dropped lower, more urgent. "I know this is insane. I know I look crazy. But I am desperate, and you're the only person here who doesn't know her. Please." Tamara opened her mouth to refuse. This was ridiculous, unprofessional, potentially dangerous. But something in his eyes stopped her. It wasn't just panic. It was the kind of exhaustion that came from being hunted, from having no safe space. She knew that feeling. She'd seen it in her mother's eyes when the hospital bills first started coming. The woman in green was getting closer, her heels clicking against the stone pathway with military precision. 5 minutes, Tamara heard herself say. "That's it." Relief flooded his face. "Thank you. Thank you so much." He laced his fingers through hers, the gesture surprisingly natural despite the absurdity of the situation. "Just follow my lead." He pulled her toward the garden, weaving through clusters of wedding guests sipping cocktails and admiring the sunset. Tamara's mind raced. What was she doing? She should be checking on the doves, making sure the cake was properly displayed, confirming the timeline for the first dance. Instead, she was holding hands with a complete stranger, running from a woman who looked like she could kill with her stare alone. They ducked behind a row of perfectly trimmed hedges. Tamara could hear the woman's voice now, sharp and demanding. "Have you seen Harrison? Tall, dark hair, probably looking miserable?" Harrison. So that was his name. He pressed closer to Tamara and she could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy. Her professional mind catalogued details automatically. His watch was a Patek Philippe, easily worth more than her car. His shoes were Italian leather, custom-made. This wasn't just some wealthy wedding guest. This was serious money. "Where is he?" The woman's voice was closer now. Harrison looked at Tamara, a question in his eyes. She nodded once, understanding. When the woman rounded the hedge, Tamara was laughing at something Harrison had supposedly said, her hands still in his, her body language relaxed and intimate. "Oh." The woman in green stopped short. Her eyes narrowed as she took in the scene. "Harrison. I didn't know you were bringing someone." "Veronica." Harrison's voice was steady now, though Tamara could feel the tension in his hand. "This is Tamara. Tamara, this is Veronica. She's the bride's cousin." Liar, Tamara thought, but she smiled warmly. "It's lovely to meet you. Harrison has told me so much about the family." "Really?" Veronica's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Funny he never mentioned you." "We've been keeping things quiet," Tamara said smoothly, surprising herself. Where was this coming from? She'd never been good at lying. But something about the way Veronica was looking at Harrison, like he was property she'd misplaced, made Tamara want to protect him. "You know how it is. We wanted to make sure things were serious before going public." "How serious?" Veronica stepped closer, her perfume overwhelming. Everything about her screamed expensive and artificial. Harrison's arm slid around Tamara's waist. The gesture was possessive but somehow gentle. "Very serious." The moment stretched. Veronica's eyes moved between them, calculating. Tamara forced herself to breathe normally, to lean into Harrison like this was natural, like they did this every day. Her heart was pounding so hard she was sure everyone could hear it. Finally, Veronica's expression shifted into something cold and dismissive. Well, congratulations. I hope you know what you're getting into, sweetie. Harrison has a tendency to lose interest quickly. I'll take my chances, Tamara replied, keeping her voice light. Veronica's jaw tightened. She turned on her heel and stalked away, her green dress billowing behind her like a storm cloud. They watched her go in silence. When she was finally out of sight, Harrison exhaled shakily and stepped back, dropping his arm. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have dragged you into that. No, you shouldn't have. Tamara smoothed down her burgundy dress, trying to regain her professional composure. But something tells me you had a good reason. She's my ex-fiancée, Harrison said quietly. She's been following me to every family event for the past 6 months. I called off the wedding when I found out she was only interested in my money, and she hasn't accepted it. Today she cornered me in the house and said she wanted to talk about giving us another chance. I panicked. Tamara studied him. His shoulders were slumped now, the desperation replaced by embarrassment. Why didn't you just tell her no again? I have. About 100 times. She doesn't listen. He ran a hand through his hair. Look, I know this isn't your problem. You were just trying to do your job and I interrupted that. Let me at least pay you for your time. I don't want your money for that. The words came out sharper than Tamara intended. But I do need to get back to work. I have 50 doves to locate. 50 doves? For the first time he smiled. It transformed his face completely. That sounds like a story. It's a nightmare, Tamara corrected, but she found herself smiling back. They were supposed to be in cages until the ceremony. Somehow they got loose. Sounds like you could use help. From a man who can't even escape his ex without a fake girlfriend? I'll pass. But there was no bite to her words. Harrison laughed, a genuine sound that made something warm bloom in Tamara's chest. Dangerous, she told herself. This man was dangerous not because he meant harm, but because he was the kind of distraction she couldn't afford. Rich, good-looking, and apparently terrible at setting boundaries with his ex. Every red flag her mother had ever warned her about. Fair point, he conceded. But seriously, thank you. You saved me from a very uncomfortable conversation. You're welcome. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a wedding to save. She turned to leave, but his voice stopped her. Wait. At least let me give you my card. If you ever need anything, event-related or otherwise, I owe you one. Tamara hesitated. Every instinct told her to walk away cleanly. But when she looked at him, she saw something familiar. Loneliness. The kind that came from being surrounded by people who wanted something from you but never seeing you for who you really were. Fine. She took the business card he pulled from his jacket. Harrison Reed, CEO, Reed Technologies. Her eyes widened slightly. She'd heard of Reed Technologies. Everyone had. They were one of the biggest tech companies in the country. This wasn't just wealthy. This was billionaire wealthy. That's quite a title, she managed. It's just a job. He shrugged, but there was something defensive in his posture. Like he was waiting for her attitude to change now that she knew. It didn't. Tamara had never been impressed by money. She'd seen too many rich people treat her mother like dirt when she cleaned their houses. Money didn't make you kind. It didn't make you decent. Well, Mr. Reed, I hope you enjoy the rest of the wedding. Try to avoid any more ex-fiancés. She tucked the card into her pocket and started back toward the main venue. Tamara. She paused, looking back. You have incredible instincts. The way you handled Veronica, the story you created. You made it believable in seconds. That's a real talent. I'm good at my job, she said simply. I can tell. They stood there for a moment, the garden around them perfect and still. In the distance, Tamara could hear the string quartet starting a new piece. The ceremony would begin in less than an hour, and she still had a million things to do. I really have to go, she said. Of course. Thank you again. Tamara nodded and walked away quickly, before she could do something stupid like ask why he looked so sad. Before she could wonder what it was like to be so wealthy but still so alone. She had her own problems. Her mother's cancer treatments. The rent. The struggling business. The last thing she needed was to get tangled up with a billionaire and his messy personal life. But as she coordinated the dove wranglers and calmed the hysterical bride's mother, as she managed the ceremony and ensured every detail was perfect, Tamara found her hand drifting to the pocket where Harrison's card rested. Just knowing it was there felt like possibility. Like maybe, just maybe, things could get better. By the time the reception was in full swing and the doves were safely released during the first dance, Tamara was exhausted. She leaned against a pillar, watching the guests celebrate, and allowed herself one moment of rest. That's when she saw him again. Harrison was at a table near the back, surrounded by people who were clearly family. They were laughing at something and he was smiling, but it didn't reach his eyes. He looked trapped in a different way now. Their eyes met across the room. He raised his champagne glass slightly, a silent toast. Tamara found herself raising her water bottle in return. Something passed between them in that moment, an understanding that neither of them could quite name. The woman in green, Veronica, appeared at Harrison's side. She put her hand on his shoulder, leaning in to whisper something. Tamara saw Harrison's smile freeze, saw him tense. And before she could think better of it, before she could remind herself that this wasn't her problem, Tamara was walking across the room. "There you are," she said brightly, appearing at Harrison's other side. "You promised me a dance, remember?" Harrison's eyes widened, but he caught on quickly. "Of course. Excuse me, Veronica." He stood and took Tamara's hand, leading her to the dance floor. The band was playing something slow and romantic. As they moved together, much more naturally than two strangers should, Harrison whispered, "You didn't have to do that." "I know," Tamara replied. "But 5 minutes was up, and you looked like you needed saving again. Does this mean we get another 5 minutes?" Tamara looked up at him. In the soft light of the reception, he looked younger, less burdened. "Let's call it even. You give me a good review for your cousin's wedding, and we'll say I was just doing my job. This is your event?" Harrison looked around with new appreciation. "It's beautiful. Every detail is perfect. It's what I do." "Then you're exceptional at it." His voice was sincere, without the empty flattery Tamara had heard from so many clients. This is the work of someone who genuinely cares about making moments special. Something in Tamara's chest tightened. When was the last time someone had really seen her work? Not just the surface, but the heart she put into every event? "Thank you," she said softly. The song ended, but they stayed on the dance floor for a moment longer. Around them, other couples swayed and laughed. The wedding she'd coordinated was a success. The bride was happy. The guests were celebrating. Tamara had done her job perfectly. But for the first time in years, she wondered what it would be like to be a guest instead of the coordinator. To be the one celebrating instead of the one making sure everyone else could celebrate. To be the woman in someone's arms because she wanted to be, not because she was helping them escape. "Good night, Harrison," she said, stepping back. "Good night, Tamara." He held her gaze. "I meant what I said. If you ever need anything." She nodded and walked away, back to her checklist and responsibilities. But later, when she was driving home in her beat-up Honda, the card in her pocket felt heavier than it should. She pulled it out at a red light, studying the embossed letters. Harrison Reed. Geo. A phone number. An email. Tamara tucked it into her wallet, telling herself she'd never use it. That this was just a strange, random encounter that would fade into a funny story someday. But deep down, in a place she didn't want to examine too closely, she wondered if maybe, just maybe, their paths would cross again. And she wondered if she wanted them to. Have you ever helped a stranger and wondered if it would change your life? Do you believe in fate bringing people together? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories about unexpected connections and second chances. The knock on Tamara's office door came exactly 1 week later, on a Monday morning when she was drowning in paperwork and bad coffee. Her tiny office above the dry cleaners wasn't impressive, but it was hers. The walls were covered in photos of successful events, the desk was buried under fabric samples and vendor contracts, and the ancient computer in the corner made alarming grinding noises whenever she turned it on. "Come in," she called absently, not looking up from the budget spreadsheet that was making her want to cry. The numbers didn't work. They never worked. No matter how she arranged them, shuffled them, prayed over them, Elegant Moments was dying. Slowly, painfully dying. "I hope I'm not interrupting." Tamara's head snapped up. Harrison Reed stood in her doorway, looking completely out of place in his charcoal suit and expensive shoes. He held a paper bag from the coffee shop downstairs, and he was smiling hesitantly. "What are you doing here?" The words came out harsher than she intended. "How did you even find this place?" "Your business card. The one you gave my cousin after the wedding." He held up the bag. "I brought coffee. Peace offering for showing up unannounced." Tamara sat back in her chair, studying him. In the week since the wedding, she'd convinced herself that the encounter had been a fluke, a strange moment that meant nothing. But here he was, in her office, looking at her like she was someone important. It was unsettling. What do you want, Harrison? To talk. And to thank you properly. He gestured to the chair across from her desk. May I? She nodded and he sat, placing the coffee bag between them. The smell was heavenly, much better than the burnt sludge she'd been drinking. He pulled out 2 cups and slid one toward her. Vanilla latte if I remember correctly. You mentioned it during our dance. Tamara blinked. You remembered that? I pay attention. He took a sip of his own coffee, black. So, this is Elegant Moments. It's cozy. That's code for small and broke, right? Tamara wrapped her hands around the cup, savoring the warmth. You don't have to be polite. I know what it looks like. I was being sincere. There's something real about this place. Personal. Harrison looked at the photos on her walls. You've done some beautiful work. Not beautiful enough to keep the lights on apparently. The bitterness slipped out before Tamara could stop it. She was tired. Tired of pretending everything was fine, tired of juggling bills, tired of watching her dreams crumble. Sorry? That was unprofessional. It was honest. Harrison set down his cup. How bad is it? Excuse me? Your financial situation. How bad? Tamara's first instinct was to tell him it was none of his business. But something about the way he asked, direct but not judgmental, made her pause. Bad enough that I'm 3 months behind on rent. Bad enough that I had to let go of my assistant last month. Bad enough that I'm considering shutting down and getting a regular job. You'd hate that. You don't know me well enough to say that. I know enough. Harrison leaned forward. You put your heart into your work. People like us, we can't do regular jobs. We need to create, to build something meaningful. Working for someone else would kill that part of you. Tamara wanted to argue, but he was right. The thought of giving up Elegant Moments, of admitting defeat, felt like dying. So what? I should just keep struggling? Keep drowning in debt while I chase some dream that's clearly not working? No. You should let me help. There it was. The offer she'd been both expecting and dreading. Rich people always wanted to help, but it always came with strings. Always cost more than money. I don't need charity. That's not what I'm offering. Harrison pulled out his phone, tapping a few times before showing her the screen. It was an event listing for something called the Reed Foundation Annual Charity Gala. This is in 6 weeks. We've used the same event coordinator for the past 5 years, but I want someone new. Someone with fresh ideas and real passion. I want you. Tamara stared at the screen. The Reed Foundation Charity Gala was legendary in event planning circles. It raised millions every year, attracted celebrities and politicians, and was featured in every major magazine. Landing that job would put Elegant Moments on the map. It would solve all her financial problems in one night. Why? She asked carefully. You don't know anything about me or my company. Why would you trust me with something this important? Because you're good. I saw that at the wedding. Every detail was perfect even with the chaos. And because you helped me when you didn't have to. You could have told me to handle my own problems, but you didn't. Harrison put his phone away. I trust my instincts about people, Tamara. And my instincts tell me you're exactly what this gala needs. It was too good to be true. Tamara knew that. But she thought about her mother in the hospital, about the experimental treatment the doctors had mentioned that insurance wouldn't cover. She thought about her 2 remaining employees who depended on their paychecks. She thought about the dream she'd worked so hard to build. What's the catch? She asked. No catch. Standard contract, standard fees. Actually, probably better fees than you're used to. The foundation has a generous budget. Harrison pulled out a folder from his briefcase and slid it across the desk. Look it over. Talk to a lawyer if you want. This is a legitimate business offer. Tamara opened the folder with shaking hands. The numbers inside made her dizzy. This wasn't just good. This was life-changing. 6 months of financial security, maybe more if she was smart about it. The chance to work on something prestigious enough to attract other high-end clients. I need to think about it, she said, even though every part of her was screaming to accept immediately. Of course. Take your time. Harrison stood, smoothing his jacket. But Tamara? Don't let pride stop you from accepting good fortune when it comes. Sometimes help isn't charity. Sometimes it's just one person recognizing talent in another and wanting to give them a chance to shine. After he left, Tamara sat alone with the contract, reading it over and over. Everything seemed legitimate. The terms were fair, even generous. There were no hidden clauses, no strange requirements. It was exactly what Harrison had said it was. A good opportunity. She picked up her phone and called her mother. Baby, you sound stressed, her mother said immediately. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. Actually, something might be very right and I don't know what to do about it. Tamara explained the situation, leaving out the part about Harrison's ex-fiancée and the fake relationship. Her mother didn't need to know all the details. "This man, you trust him?" her mother asked when Tamara finished. "I don't know. I barely know him. But your gut. What does your gut say?" Tamara closed her eyes, thinking about the way Harrison had looked at her during the wedding. The desperation in his voice when he'd asked for help. The genuine gratitude afterward. The careful respect in his tone when he'd offered this job. "My gut says he's lonely and kind and trying to do something good." "Then accept. Pride is for people who can afford it. You need this, baby. We need this. Take the blessing when it's offered." That night, Tamara called Harrison and accepted the job. His relief was palpable through the phone. "Thank you. You won't regret this." "I hope not." They arranged to meet the next day to discuss details. Tamara spent hours preparing, researching the foundation, looking at photos from previous galas, making notes on ideas. When she arrived at the Reed Technologies headquarters, she was ready. Or so she thought. Harrison's office took up the entire top floor. Windows overlooked the city, the furniture was modern and expensive, and there was artwork on the walls that probably cost more than her entire inventory. He was on the phone when his assistant showed her in, but he quickly ended the call and came around the desk to greet her. "Tamara. Thank you for coming." He gestured to a sitting area with comfortable chairs. "Please sit. Can I get you anything?" "I'm fine. Let's just get to work." She pulled out her tablet, all business. If she was going to do this, she was going to do it right. They spent 3 hours going over details. Harrison told her about the foundation's mission, providing technology education to underprivileged schools. He showed her budgets and donor lists, explained what had worked in previous years and what hadn't. Tamara took notes frantically, her mind already spinning with ideas. "What about the theme?" she asked. "Past galas seem pretty traditional. Elegant but safe." "That's exactly why I want someone new. I'm tired of safe." Harrison leaned back in his chair. "What would you do? If budget wasn't a concern, if you could create anything?" Tamara bit her lip, thinking. "A garden at night. But not real gardens. Technology gardens. LED flowers that light up, interactive displays that respond to touch, projections on the walls showing kids learning. Make it beautiful but purposeful. Show donors exactly where their money is going while they eat and drink and dance." Harrison's eyes lit up. "That's brilliant. That's exactly what we need. Something that makes the cause real instead of abstract." They kept talking, ideas flowing naturally. Tamara forgot to be nervous, forgot about the money and the pressure. This was what she loved about event planning. The creativity, the challenge of turning concepts into reality. Harrison matched her enthusiasm, adding suggestions, pushing her to think bigger. By the time they finished, it was dark outside. Tamara looked at the clock in surprise. "I've taken up your whole afternoon." "Best afternoon I've had in months," Harrison said, and she could tell he meant it. "You're amazing at this, Tamara. The way your mind works, seeing connections and possibilities. I made the right choice. I hope I can live up to your expectations." "You will." "I don't doubt that for a second." He walked her to the elevator. "I'll have my assistant send you everything you need. Contact information for our preferred vendors, though you're free to bring in your own people. Access to the venue. Whatever you need." "Thank you." Tamara stepped into the elevator, then hesitated. "Can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Why are you really doing this? And don't say it's just because I'm good at my job. You could hire any of a dozen elite event planners in this city. Why me?" Harrison was quiet for a moment. "Because you helped me without expecting anything in return. Because you saw me at my worst and didn't judge. And because I have more money than I know what to do with, and using it to help someone talented and hardworking seems like the least I can do." He smiled. "Plus, I genuinely think you'll do an exceptional job." The elevator doors started to close, but Tamara caught them. "Your ex Veronica. Has she left you alone?" Harrison's expression darkened. "No. If anything, she's gotten worse. But that's my problem to handle." "Well, if you need another fake girlfriend moment, you have my number." The words were out before Tamara could stop them. Harrison laughed, surprised. "I'll keep that in mind." On the drive home, Tamara felt lighter than she had in months. This was really happening. She was going to coordinate the Reed Foundation Gala. She was going to save her business and help her mother and prove to herself that she could make this dream work. Her phone rang as she pulled into her parking space. Unknown number. "Hello? Is this Tamara Johnson?" A woman's voice, cold and sharp. "Yes. Who is this? Someone who wants to give you some friendly advice. Stay away from Harrison Reed. He's just using you like he uses everyone. Whatever he's promised you, it won't last. And when he gets bored and moves on, you'll be left with nothing. Veronica. It wasn't a question. Smart girl. So you'll take my advice. Tamara's grip on the phone tightened. No. I have a job to do and I'm going to do it. Whatever is between you and Harrison, leave me out of it. You're already in it, sweetheart. The moment you held his hand at that wedding, you became part of this. Veronica's voice turned sharp. I'm trying to help you. Walk away now before you get hurt. Good night, Veronica. Tamara ended the call, her hands shaking. She sat in her car for a long time, staring at nothing. This was getting complicated. But when she thought about the contract, about the opportunity, about Harrison's genuine kindness, she knew she couldn't walk away. Not now. Not yet. If someone offered to help your struggling dream come true, would you take it? Or would fear and pride hold you back? Let us know in the comments below, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss what happens next in Tamara and Harrison's story. The Reed Foundation Gala planning consumed Tamara's life for the next 2 weeks. She met with vendors, toured the venue, created mock-ups of the technology garden concept. Harrison was involved in every decision, but he never micromanaged. He trusted her vision, offering input only when asked. It was the best working relationship Tamara had ever had. They fell into a rhythm. Morning meetings at a coffee shop halfway between their offices. Afternoon emails with updates and ideas. Late-night texts about last-minute changes or sudden inspirations. It felt natural, easy in a way that made Tamara nervous. She kept reminding herself this was business, just business. But the Veronica situation kept escalating. The woman showed up at the venue during a walkthrough, claiming she was there to help. She sent Tamara emails pointing out mistakes in the planning that weren't actually mistakes. She even called some of Tamara's vendors, claiming to be Harrison's representative and trying to change orders. Harrison was furious when he found out. I'm getting a restraining order. This has gone too far. They were in Tamara's office, going over centerpiece options. It was late Friday afternoon, and they were both exhausted. Will that even work? Tamara asked. She seems pretty determined. It has to. I can't keep living like this, always looking over my shoulder. Harrison rubbed his face. I'm sorry you're caught up in this. It's not fair to you. I can handle it. Tamara selected 3 centerpiece designs. What do you think of these? They're all beautiful. You choose. Harrison wasn't really looking at them. He was staring out her small window at the street below, lost in thought. Can I ask you something? Sure. Do you ever wish you'd made different choices? Taken the safer path? Tamara considered the question. Every day. When I'm lying awake at 3 a.m. worrying about money. When I have to choose between paying rent and buying groceries. When I see my friends with their stable jobs and steady paychecks. She paused. But then I coordinate an event and I see the joy on people's faces and I remember why I do this. The hard parts are worth it for the moments when everything comes together perfectly. That's how I feel about my company. Harrison turned to face her. Everyone thinks being successful must be easy, must solve all your problems. But it just creates different problems. Harder ones sometimes. Like ex-fiancés who won't take no for an answer? Among other things. He smiled, but it was sad. My parents want me to settle down, give them grandchildren. My board wants me to be more visible, more social. Everyone has expectations, and I'm failing all of them because I can't even manage my personal life. Tamara set down the centerpiece samples. You're not failing. You're just dealing with a difficult situation. That I created by being stupid enough to propose to someone I barely knew. We all make mistakes. You can't punish yourself forever for one bad judgment call. She hesitated, then added, for what it's worth, I think you're doing fine. Building a successful company, running a charitable foundation, being kind to strangers in wedding gardens. That's not nothing. Harrison looked at her with such intensity that Tamara felt her breath catch. You see me differently than most people do. I see you as a person, not a bank account. That's all. That's everything. He stood abruptly, pacing her small office. I have a crazy idea. You can absolutely say no. In fact, you should probably say no. Tamara's heart started beating faster. What kind of crazy idea? Veronica won't leave me alone because she thinks I'm single and available. The restraining order will help, but it won't solve the underlying problem. She's convinced we're meant to be together. Harrison stopped pacing and faced Tamara. What if we made our fake relationship real? Not actually real but publicly real. Dating for a few months until she finally gets the message and moves on. That's insane. I know. That's not how you solve this kind of problem. I'm aware. You should just ignore her completely until she loses interest. I've tried that. It doesn't work. Harrison sat back down, leaning forward earnestly. Look, I know this is a huge ask. And I know we barely know each other. But you've already helped me once and it worked. Veronica backed off at the wedding when she saw us together. Maybe if she saw us together more, saw that I was genuinely happy with someone else, she'd finally accept reality. Tamara wanted to say no. Every logical part of her brain was screaming to refuse. This was messy and complicated and bound to end badly. But she thought about her mother in the hospital. About the experimental treatment the doctors said might add years to her life but cost more than Tamara made in 6 months. About her business barely staying afloat despite the gala contract. What's in it for me? She asked carefully. Harrison pulled out his phone, typing quickly, then showed her a number. That's what I'll pay you for 3 months of fake dating. Appearances at events, social media posts, maybe meeting my family. Nothing inappropriate. Just pretending we're together to convince Veronica to move on. Tamara stared at the number. It was obscene. It was enough to pay for her mother's treatment, pay off her business debts, and have enough left over to expand elegant moments. It was the answer to prayers she'd been too tired to pray. This is too much, she whispered. It's what your time and effort are worth. And honestly, it's a drop in the bucket for me. I have more money than I could spend in 10 lifetimes. Let me use some of it to help both of us solve our problems. What if it doesn't work? What if Veronica doesn't buy it? Then at least I tried something. And you still get paid for your time. Harrison's voice was gentle. I'm not trying to pressure you, Tamara. If you say no, we continue as we are. You coordinate the gala, I pay you for that work, and we go our separate ways afterward. But if you say yes, if you're willing to help me one more time, I promise I'll make it worth your while. And I'll do everything I can to make it easy for you. Tamara stood and walked to her window, looking down at the street. People were heading home from work, normal people with normal problems. She used to be one of them. When had her life gotten so strange? But was it really that strange? People made business arrangements all the time. Contracts, agreements, deals that benefited both parties. This was just another form of that. Harrison got help with his Veronica problem. Tamara got financial security. It was practical, really. 3 months, she said, not turning around. Just 3 months and then we end it cleanly. No drama, no complications. 3 months. I promise. And we keep it professional. This is a business arrangement, nothing more. Absolutely. Tamara turned to face him. And you pay for my mother's treatment. The experimental one. That's non-negotiable. Harrison's expression softened. Of course. That's actually why I made the offer so high. I did some research. I know what that treatment costs. Something in Tamara's chest cracked. When was the last time someone had thought about her needs, really thought about them without being asked? Why are you being so nice to me? Because you were nice to me when you didn't have to be. Because you're talented and hardworking and deserve a break. Because helping you helps me, and that seems like the definition of a good deal. Harrison stood and held out his hand. So what do you say? Want to be my fake girlfriend? Tamara looked at his outstretched hand. This was crazy. Impulsive. Probably the worst decision she'd ever make. But her mother's face flashed through her mind. Tired, pale, getting thinner every week. The doctors said the treatment could help. Could give her more time. More years. How could Tamara say no to that? She took his hand. 3 months. Starting now. Harrison's smile was genuine, relieved, grateful. Thank you. You have no idea what this means to me. I hope I don't regret this. I'll do everything I can to make sure you don't. They spent the next hour hammering out details. Public appearances at charity events, society dinners, maybe a weekend trip or two. Harrison would pick her up for their dates and return her home safely. They'd post occasionally on social media. They'd act affectionate but appropriate. And at the end of 3 months, they'd stage a friendly breakup and go their separate ways. It sounded simple on paper. Tamara tried to ignore the voice in her head that said nothing about this would be simple. Harrison left, promising to have his lawyer draw up a contract. Tamara sat alone in her office as the sun set, wondering what she'd just agreed to. Her phone rang. Her mother. Hey Mom. Baby, I have news. The doctor said the treatment is available. They can start in 2 weeks if we can secure payment. Her mother's voice was shaking. I know we can't afford it. I told them I needed to think about it. Maybe we can do a payment plan or... We can afford it, Tamara interrupted. I got a bonus. A big one. Enough to cover the treatment. Her mother was silent for a long moment. Tamara. What did you do? Nothing bad. I promise. I just took on some extra work for a client. It's all legitimate. You're not lying to me? I'm not lying. It wasn't a lie exactly. This was work in a way. The treatment is happening, Mom. No arguments. You're getting better. Her mother started crying. Tamara closed her eyes, listening to the sound of her mother's relief and hope, and knew she'd made the right choice. Whatever complications came from this arrangement with Harrison, whatever price she'd eventually pay, it would be worth it to hear her mother's tears of joy. Later that night, after setting up the payment plan with the hospital, after calling Harrison to confirm everything was set, after drafting initial ideas for their public debut as a couple, Tamara allowed herself to feel the weight of what she'd done. She was going to pretend to date a billionaire to help him escape his ex-fiancée. It sounded like the plot of a bad movie, but the number in her bank account was very real. The hospital's confirmation of her mother's treatment schedule was very real. And the flutter in her stomach when she thought about spending the next 3 months with Harrison was unfortunately also very real. Business arrangement, she told her reflection in the bathroom mirror. This is just business. Don't make it more than that. Her reflection didn't look convinced. Her phone buzzed with a text from Harrison. Thank you again. I know this is asking a lot. I won't forget this. Tamara typed back, just don't make me regret it. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Finally, I'll do my best. See you tomorrow for our first official date. We're something nice. We're going to the theater. The theater. Public and visible. Where Veronica would definitely see them. This was really happening. Tamara went to her closet, looking for something appropriate. She owned exactly 2 nice dresses, both purchased at discount stores. She'd need to go shopping. With what money? Harrison said he'd provide a clothing allowance. Right. Because she was now playing a role and the role required costumes. This was so far beyond anything she'd imagined when she'd held Harrison's hand in that wedding garden. But as Tamara thought about her mother's upcoming treatment, about the relief on Harrison's face when she'd agreed, about the chance to save her business and build something better, she couldn't bring herself to regret the choice. Not yet, anyway. The weekend passed in a blur of preparation. Harrison sent a stylist to help Tamara pick out clothes for their public appearances. The woman was kind and efficient, selecting beautiful pieces in Tamara's size and favorite colors. Nothing too flashy, nothing uncomfortable. Just elevated versions of Tamara's natural style. Mr. Reed said to make sure you felt like yourself, the stylist explained. He doesn't want you to have to pretend to be someone you're not. That was thoughtful. Dangerously thoughtful. Tamara reminded herself not to read too much into it. Monday night arrived too quickly. Harrison picked her up in a sleek black car, driven by a professional driver. He looked incredible in a navy suit, and when he saw Tamara in her new emerald green dress, his eyes widened. You look stunning, he said, and Tamara could tell he meant it. You clean up pretty well yourself. She accepted his hand as he helped her into the car. At the theater, heads turned as they walked in. Harrison kept his hand on the small of her back, guiding her through the crowd. It felt natural, comfortable. Too comfortable. And there near the bar was Veronica. She was watching them with narrow eyes. Harrison saw her too. He leaned down, whispering in Tamara's ear, "Here we go." Tamara turned to him, smiling up like he'd said something sweet. She put her hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat through the suit. It was racing as fast as hers. "We can do this," she whispered back. Harrison's smile was grateful. He pressed a kiss to her temple, gentle and brief, and Tamara heard Veronica's sharp intake of breath even from across the room. The show was excellent, but Tamara barely registered it. She was too aware of Harrison beside her, his arm around her shoulders, the way he leaned in during intermission to ask if she wanted champagne. To anyone watching, they looked like a couple completely absorbed in each other. The scary part was how easy it felt. All right. After the show, as Harrison's driver took them back to Tamara's apartment, they sat in comfortable silence. Finally, Harrison spoke. "Thank you for tonight. You were perfect. I just did what we agreed on. You did more than that. You made it believable. Made it look easy." He turned to face her. "Did Veronica's face when she saw us together make this whole thing worth it?" Tamara laughed, surprised by his humor. "A little bit, yeah." "Good. Because we've got 2 months and 3 weeks to go, and I need you to keep finding the humor in this situation. Otherwise we'll both go crazy." The car pulled up to her building. Harrison walked her to her door like a real date. "Good night, Tamara." "Good night, Harrison." She went inside, closed the door and leaned against it. 3 months. She could do 3 months. Even if her heart was starting to suggest this might be more than just a business arrangement. Even if Harrison's goodbye smile had made her wish, just for a second, that this was real. The next 2 weeks passed in a strange new rhythm. Tamara spent her days coordinating the gala and her evenings playing Harrison's girlfriend. They had dinner at exclusive restaurants where photographers just happened to be present. They attended a charity auction where Harrison bid an absurd amount on a painting Tamara had admired. They went to a jazz club where he surprised her by knowing all the musicians' names and histories. "You like jazz?" she asked over drinks, genuinely curious. "My mother played saxophone in college. She taught me to appreciate good music." Harrison smiled at the memory. "She always said that jazz teaches you to embrace mistakes and turn them into something beautiful. That's a good philosophy for life." "She's full of good philosophies. You'll like her." He paused, then added carefully, "I'm having lunch with my family on Sunday. Would you come? They're eager to meet you." Tamara's stomach flipped. Meeting the family felt real in a way their public dates didn't. "Are you sure that's necessary? My mother saw pictures of us at the theater. She called the next day demanding to know why I hadn't mentioned I was seeing someone." Harrison looked apologetic. "I could tell her you're busy, but she'll just keep pushing. And honestly, it would help sell the relationship if my family believes it's real." He was right. Tamara knew he was right. "Okay. Sunday lunch. But you have to warn them I'm not from their world. I'm not going to know which fork to use or how to make small talk about yacht clubs. They're not like that. I promise." Harrison reached across the table and took her hand. It was becoming natural, this casual touching. Dangerous but natural. "My dad's a retired engineer. My mom volunteers at 3 different charities. My sister Autumn is getting her master's in social work. They're good people, Tamara. They'll love you because I care about you." He'd almost said love. Tamara's heart did something complicated. "Careful. You almost broke character there." Harrison's expression was unreadable. "Did I?" Sunday arrived with unseasonably warm weather. Harrison picked up Tamara at noon, this time driving himself in a more modest car. "Trying to blend in?" she teased. "Trying not to scare you off." He glanced at her as he drove. She was wearing a simple blue sundress, her natural hair styled in loose curls. "You look beautiful, by the way. But you always do. You don't have to compliment me when no one's watching." "Maybe I want to." He said it lightly, but there was something underneath the words that made Tamara's breath catch. The Reed family home was large but not ostentatious. A colonial in an old neighborhood with a garden that looked well-loved and a tire swing in the oak tree out front. As they walked up the path, the front door burst open and a young woman came running out. "Harrison." She threw her arms around him, then immediately turned to Tamara. "And you must be Tamara. I'm Autumn. I've been dying to meet you." Autumn was petite with dark hair and a pixie cut and her brother's blue eyes. She wore jeans and a yellow t-shirt with paint stains. Come in, come in. Mom's been cooking all morning. Dad's trying to pretend he's not nervous about meeting you. It's adorable." The house smelled like garlic and fresh bread. Mrs. Reed appeared from the kitchen, wiping her hands on an apron. She was elegant even in casual clothes, with gray-streaked brown hair and a warm smile. "Tamara, we're so happy you could join us." "Thank you for having me, Mrs. Reed. Call me Patricia, please. And this is my husband, Robert." Mr. Reed came from what looked like a study, tall and distinguished with white hair and Harrison's exact smile. He shook Tamara's hand firmly. "Nice to meet you. Harrison's told us good things." They ate lunch on the back patio, under a pergola covered in climbing roses. The food was delicious and homemade. The conversation flowed easily, touching on everything from current events to gardening to Autumn's thesis project on community development. Tamara felt herself relaxing, laughing at Robert's terrible dad jokes, listening to Patricia's stories about raising 2 strong-willed children. "Harrison was so serious as a child," Patricia said, passing around apple pie. "Always thinking, always planning. Autumn was our wild one. But now look at them. Harrison running a tech empire, Autumn trying to save the world one neighborhood at a time. Mom, please don't make me sound like a saint. I'm not that noble." Autumn grinned at Tamara. "So tell us how you met my brother." "He was very mysterious about it." Tamara glanced at Harrison, who nodded slightly. They'd agreed on a story. "At a wedding. I was coordinating the event and Harrison was a guest. We literally ran into each other, started talking and just clicked. Love at first sight? Patricia asked hopefully. More like interest at first sight, Harrison said, covering smoothly. Tamara was so professional, so passionate about her work. I was intrigued. And he was charming and persistent, Tamara added, falling into the rhythm of their rehearsed story. He asked for my number, called the next day, and has been making me laugh ever since. It wasn't entirely a lie. They had met at a wedding. They had talked. And Harrison did make her laugh, more than she'd expected. The feelings just weren't romantic, or at least they weren't supposed to be. After lunch, Autumn pulled Tamara aside while Harrison helped his father with something in the garage. I need to tell you something, Autumn said, leading her to a bench in the garden. Okay. Tamara braced herself. Had Autumn figured out the truth? My brother seems happy. Really happy for the first time in years. Autumn's expression was serious. After Veronica, after that whole mess, we were worried. He closed himself off, threw himself into work. But since he met you, he's different. Lighter. Guilt twisted in Tamara's stomach. Autumn? I'm not trying to pressure you. I just want you to know that whatever you two have, it's good for him. Don't hurt him, okay? He acts tough, but he's actually got the softest heart of anyone I know. I won't hurt him, Tamara promised, meaning it. That's the last thing I want to do. Good. Autumn's smile returned. Now, can we talk about the fact that you're planning the Reed Foundation Gala? Because I have so many ideas and Harrison never listens to me. They spent an hour talking about the gala, about event planning, about Autumn's dreams for her career. Tamara found herself genuinely liking this woman, wanting to be her friend beyond the fake relationship. It was complicated and messy and not at all what she'd signed up for. When it was time to leave, Patricia hugged Tamara tightly. Come back soon. Don't wait for Harrison to bring you. You're welcome anytime. Thank you. That means a lot. In the car, heading back to Tamara's apartment, Harrison was quiet. Finally he said, They loved you. They're wonderful people. You're lucky to have them. I am. He glanced at her. Was it awful? Meeting them knowing this is all temporary? It was harder than I expected, Tamara admitted. Especially Autumn. She's great and I wish I could really be her friend. You can be. When this is over, when we've achieved what we need to achieve, there's no reason we can't stay friends. You and me, you and my family. Why does it have to be all or nothing? Tamara wanted to explain that it didn't work that way. That you couldn't fake intimacy for 3 months and then just neatly transition to friendship. That feelings got complicated, lines got blurred. But she didn't say any of that. Instead she just nodded. Maybe you're right. The next week brought more dates, more photos and society columns. Tamara's social media follower count exploded. Clients started calling elegant moments, wanting the event planner who was dating Harrison Reed. Her business was suddenly thriving, and it should have felt like victory. Instead, it felt like she was living someone else's life. Her mother's treatment started. Tamara visited the hospital every other day, holding her mother's hand through the difficult sessions. The side effects were harsh, but the doctors were optimistic. This is working, they said. We're seeing positive results. Harrison visited once, bringing flowers and sitting with Tamara in the waiting room. He didn't talk much, just offered quiet company. When Tamara finally broke down crying from exhaustion and stress, he held her without judgment or discomfort. Just held her while she cried. Thank you, she whispered when she could speak again. You don't have to thank me for being a decent human being. Most people aren't this decent. Then you've been meeting the wrong people. He brushed a tear from her cheek. Your mother is going to be okay. I feel it. She's as strong as you are. The moment felt too real. Too intimate. Tamara pulled away gently. I should get back to work. The gala is in 3 weeks and I still have a million details to finalize. Let me help. Tell me what you need. They spent the rest of the afternoon side by side, Harrison making calls to vendors, Tamara organizing final confirmations. It was the best kind of partnership, each of them playing to their strengths. And if Tamara occasionally looked up to find Harrison watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read, well, she told herself she was imagining things. 2 nights later, they attended a formal dinner at a museum. Veronica was there, watching them with cold eyes. Harrison kept Tamara close, his hand never leaving hers. During cocktails, Veronica approached. Harrison, Tamara. How lovely to see you both. Her smile was sharp. You two are quite the couple. Everyone's talking about you. That's kind of the point, Tamara said evenly. Veronica laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yes, the point. I wonder what the point really is. She leaned closer. Be careful, sweetie. Harrison has a pattern. He falls fast, burns bright, then loses interest. I'd hate to see you get hurt when he inevitably moves on to the next shiny thing. Veronica, that's enough. Harrison's voice was cold. You don't get to speak to her like that. I'm just being honest. Someone should warn her about what she's getting into. Veronica's eyes glittered. How long have you two been together? 2 weeks? 3? Give it another month and see if he's still as attentive. We've been together 5 weeks, Tamara said, though it felt like longer. And Harrison has been nothing but wonderful. Maybe the problem wasn't him, Veronica. Maybe it was you. Veronica's face went white, then red. Before she could respond, Harrison pulled Tamara away. Let's get some air. Outside on the museum steps, the night was cool and clear. I'm sorry, Harrison said. I shouldn't have let her corner us like that. It's fine. I can handle her. Tamara leaned against the stone railing. Is what she said true? Do you have a pattern? No. I've had 3 serious relationships in my life. 1 in college that ended mutually when we graduated. 1 in my 20s that lasted 2 years before we realized we wanted different things. And Veronica, which was a mistake from day one. Harrison stood beside her. I don't fall fast and lose interest. I'm actually boringly loyal. Ask anyone who knows me. Why did you propose to her? Harrison was quiet for a long time. Loneliness. Pressure from my family to settle down. The fact that she seemed interested in me for me, not my money, or so I thought. He laughed bitterly. Turns out I was wrong about that. She had a whole plan. Marry me, wait 2 years, then divorce and get half of everything. One of her friends got drunk and told me the truth. That's horrible. It was educational. I learned that not everyone who seems genuine is actually genuine. I learned to trust my instincts more and other people's words less. He turned to look at her. You're one of the few people who's never asked me for anything. Even when I offered to help, you hesitated. Do you know how rare that is in my world? I'm not special, Harrison. I just have pride, probably too much of it. It's not pride. It's integrity. He reached out and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear, a gesture that felt too tender for their arrangement. That's why I trust you. They stood there in the moonlight, the party continuing inside without them. Tamara knew she should step back, should maintain the professional distance that was supposed to define their arrangement. But she didn't move. Neither did Harrison. We should get back, she finally said. Yeah, we should. But neither of them moved for another long moment. And when they finally did go back inside, Tamara's heart was beating faster than it should, and Harrison's hand in hers felt less like an act and more like something she was starting to need. Later that night, alone in her apartment, Tamara admitted to herself what she'd been avoiding for weeks. She was falling for Harrison Reed. Really falling, not fake falling. And she had no idea what to do about it. Her phone buzzed. A text from Harrison, "Thank you for tonight. You handled Veronica perfectly. I owe you one." Tamara typed back, "We're even." But they weren't even. Not anymore. Because somewhere between the fake dates and the real moments, between the public displays and the private conversations, Tamara had started wanting this to be real. And that was going to make the eventual ending so much harder than she'd ever imagined. Week 7 of their arrangement brought a cold snap to the city. Tamara arrived at the gala venue for a final walkthrough, shivering in her red coat. The space was transformed exactly as she'd envisioned. LED flowers glowing in soft colors, interactive displays waiting to be activated, projections mapping the walls. It was beautiful, purposeful, perfect. This is incredible. Harrison's voice came from behind her. He was early as usual, carrying 2 coffees. You've outdone yourself. You haven't seen it with people yet. That's when it really comes alive. Tamara accepted the coffee gratefully. Thanks for this. I'm starting to learn your coffee order by heart. Vanilla latte with an extra shot. Stalker. Attentive fake boyfriend, he corrected with a grin. The venue manager approached with questions, and Tamara spent the next hour troubleshooting last-minute details. Harrison stayed, offering opinions when asked, mostly just watching her work. When they finally finished, it was nearly lunchtime. Have you eaten? Harrison asked. Not since breakfast. Come on. I know a place. The place was a small Vietnamese restaurant tucked between office buildings. The food was amazing and cheap, nothing like the expensive places they usually went for their public dates. How did you find this? Tamara asked around a mouthful of pho. My first office was around here, back when Reed Technologies was just me and 2 other people working out of a strip mall. We ate here every day because it was all we could afford. Harrison smiled at the memory. The owner, Mrs. Nguyen, Used to give us extra portions because she said we looked too skinny. I like knowing you weren't always a billionaire. I like that you would have liked me even when I was broke. He said it casually, but there was weight behind the words. Tamara's phone rang. The hospital. Her heart jumped into her throat. I need to take this. She stepped outside, bracing against the cold. Hello? Ms. Johnson? This is Dr. Chin. I'm calling about your mother. Everything stopped. Is she okay? She's fine. Better than fine, actually. The latest scans show significant improvement. The treatment is working even better than we hoped. I wanted to share the good news personally. Tamara sagged against the building, relief making her knees weak. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your mother is a fighter. And having the resources for this treatment made all the difference. She's lucky to have a daughter who loves her so much. When Tamara went back inside, Harrison took one look at her face and stood. What happened? She's getting better. The treatment is working. The words came out choked. My mom is going to be okay. Harrison pulled her into a hug right there in the middle of the restaurant. Tamara clung to him, crying happy tears into his expensive suit. She felt his lips press against the top of her head, a gesture of comfort that felt achingly tender. I'm so glad, he whispered. So glad. Mrs. Nguyen appeared with tissues and congratulations. Apparently, Harrison had told her about Tamara's mother weeks ago. The older woman patted Tamara's hand. Good news? Always good to have good news. You are blessed. Tamara nodded, unable to speak. She was blessed. And one of those blessings was the man still holding her, who had made this possible without expecting anything in return. After lunch, they walked through the city despite the cold. Tamara couldn't stop smiling. I can't believe it. The doctors were cautious, didn't want to promise anything. But it's really working. Your mother must be thrilled. She cried. Happy tears like me. Tamara glanced at Harrison. I can't thank you enough for making this possible. I know it's part of our arrangement, but it means everything to me. It's not just part of our arrangement. It's what anyone would do. He stopped walking, turning to face her. Can I tell you something? Of course. I didn't offer to help just because of our deal. I offered because I care about you. Because seeing you worried and scared made me want to fix things. Because somewhere along the way this stopped being fake for me. Tamara's breath caught. Harrison. I'm not asking you for anything. I know we have an agreement and I'll honor it. But I needed you to know that what I feel, it's real. It has been for a while now. Snow started falling, light flakes that caught in Harrison's dark hair. Tamara looked at him, this man who had started as a desperate stranger and become someone essential. It stopped being fake for me too, she admitted. I've been trying to pretend it hasn't, trying to keep my distance. But I can't anymore. What do we do about that? I have no idea. Harrison laughed, reaching out to brush snow from her shoulder. We're supposed to be the smart ones. We run companies, solve problems. But this is scarier than business. So much scarier. He pulled her close. Can we just be honest about it? Can we admit that whatever this started as, it's become something else? Tamara nodded against his chest. Around them, the city continued its busy rhythm, but in this moment, it was just the two of them in the falling snow. We still have almost 2 months left on our agreement. Forget the agreement. I want to keep seeing you because I want to, not because of any contract. What about Veronica? I don't care about Veronica anymore. She's not going to dictate my life or my relationships. Harrison tilted Tamara's chin up. I care about you. Really care about you. If you'll give me a chance to prove that this is real. Instead of answering with words, Tamara kissed him. It was different from the brief, performative kisses they'd shared for cameras. This was real, deep, full of all the feelings she'd been trying to suppress. Harrison responded immediately, his arms tightening around her, kissing her like she was precious and necessary. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Harrison rested his forehead against hers. I've wanted to do that for weeks. Me too. So where does this leave us? Confused but happy? Tamara laughed. I don't know the rules for this situation. Do we tell people the truth? Do we keep pretending it started as business? Let's just focus on us for now. The rest we can figure out together. He kissed her again, softer this time. Come on. You're freezing. Let me take you home. At Tamara's apartment, Harrison walked her to the door as always. But this time when he said goodnight, it felt different. Real. Can I see you tomorrow? He asked. Not for a public event. Just for us. I'd like that. Good. I'll pick you up at 7. Wear something comfortable. The next evening Harrison arrived exactly at 7. Tamara had agonized over what comfortable meant, finally settling on jeans and a green sweater. Harrison was in jeans too, looking younger and more relaxed than she'd ever seen him. "Where are we going?" she asked as they drove. "It's a surprise." The surprise was a cooking class. "You're kidding," Tamara said, staring at the small kitchen studio. "You mentioned once that you'd always wanted to learn to make pasta. I booked us a private lesson." Harrison looked suddenly uncertain. "Is this okay? I wanted to do something normal, something that was just for us." "It's perfect." The instructor, a cheerful older woman named Rosa, taught them to make ravioli from scratch. They were terrible at it. Tamara's pasta was too thick, Harrison's filling leaked everywhere, and they spent more time laughing than actually cooking. But the final product, while ugly, tasted amazing. "I can't believe we made this," Tamara said, twirling pasta on her fork. "We make a good team." Harrison reached across the table and took her hand. "In cooking and everything else." They stayed at the studio for hours, talking and eating and just being together. No cameras, no expectations, no one to perform for. It was the best date Tamara had ever been on. "This is what I wanted," Harrison said as they cleaned up. "Just normal moments with someone who sees me as a person, not a bank account or a status symbol. This is what I wanted too. I just didn't know it until now." Over the next week they found a new rhythm. Public dates for appearances but also private moments just for them. Harrison started leaving little gifts at Tamara's office. Flowers, her favorite snacks, once a book of poetry he thought she'd like. Tamara would send him funny texts during the day, observations about life and work that made him laugh. They spent an afternoon at a bookstore, arguing good-naturedly about novels. They went ice skating where Harrison proved to be terrible and Tamara had to hold him up. They had movie nights at Tamara's apartment, making popcorn and arguing over what to watch. "I love this," Harrison said one night, sprawled on Tamara's couch with her tucked under his arm. "I love how easy we are together." "It is easy," Tamara agreed. "Easier than it should be." "Why shouldn't it be easy?" "Because we come from such different worlds. Because we started this whole thing based on a lie. Because—" She trailed off. "Because you're scared," Harrison finished. "I'm scared too. But I'm more scared of not trying than I am of trying and failing." Tamara turned to look at him. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just weren't paying attention." He kissed her nose. "Stay here tonight. Just sleep, nothing more. I just want to hold you." So Tamara stayed. They fell asleep on the couch, tangled together, the TV playing quietly in the background. It was innocent and perfect and everything Tamara hadn't known she wanted. She woke up at 3 a.m. to find Harrison watching her. "Creepy," she mumbled. "You're beautiful when you sleep." "Even more creepy." He laughed softly. "I'm trying to be romantic." "Try less hard." But she snuggled closer. "Though I appreciate the sentiment." "Tamara?" His voice was serious now. "I need you to know something. Whatever happens, whether this works out or not, I don't regret any of it. Meeting you, spending this time with you, it's been the best thing that's happened to me in years." "Don't talk like that. Like it's already ending." "I'm not. I'm just saying, in case I don't say it enough, you matter to me. You really matter." Tamara pressed a kiss to his chest, over his heart. "You matter to me too. More than I should probably admit." "Admit it anyway." "You matter to me too much. It scares me. I'm falling in love with you, and I don't know how to do that without losing myself." Harrison was quiet for so long that Tamara wondered if she'd said too much. Then, "Don't lose yourself. Just make room for me too. And I'll make room for you. That's how this works, right? I guess we'll find out." They fell back asleep together, and for the first time in longer than she could remember, Tamara felt safe. Cherished. Like maybe, just maybe, everything was going to work out. The gala was days away. Tamara was running on adrenaline and coffee, checking and rechecking every detail. Harrison helped when he could, but mostly he just made sure she ate and slept. "You're going to make yourself sick," he scolded gently, handing her a sandwich. "I'm fine." "You're exhausted. Let me help more. This is my job. I need to do it right." "You always do it right. That's not in question." He turned her chair to face him. "But you don't have to do it alone anymore. Let me carry some of the weight." So Tamara did. She let Harrison take over some of the calls. Let him handle a vendor dispute. Let him coordinate the delivery schedule. And it was okay. Better than okay. They worked together seamlessly, anticipating each other's needs, supporting each other's decisions. 2 days before the gala, Tamara's mother was released from the hospital. The treatment had been successful enough that she could continue as an outpatient. Tamara picked her up, fighting tears at how much healthier her mother looked. "My baby," her mother said, hugging her tight. "You saved my life. I just paid for treatment, Mom. You did the hard part. You did more than that. You've been my rock, my reason to fight." Her mother pulled back, studying Tamara's face. "You look different. Happier. Is it that man? Harrison?" "Maybe. Tell me about him. The real story, not what I see in pictures." So Tamara did. She told her mother everything. The fake relationship, the business arrangement, how it had become real. Her mother listened without judgment, just held Tamara's hand and nodded. "Do you love him?" she asked when Tamara finished. "I think so. Maybe. I don't know." "Yes, you do. I can see it in your eyes when you talk about him." Her mother smiled. "Don't overthink it, baby. Some things are meant to be." That night, Harrison took Tamara to dinner at a quiet Italian restaurant. They'd just ordered when Veronica appeared at their table. Tamara's heart sank. Well, still together. I'm impressed." Veronica's smile was cold. "Most of Harrison's relationships don't make it past 6 weeks. This isn't like other relationships," Harrison said evenly. "And frankly, Veronica, it's none of your business. I'm just looking out for her. Someone should tell her the truth about you. The truth is that I'm happy. Happier than I've ever been. And you need to move on." Harrison's voice was firm but not unkind. "I hope you find what you're looking for, but it's not going to be with me. It never was." Veronica's composure cracked. "You'll regret this. You'll regret choosing her over me. The only thing I regret is not seeing through you sooner." Harrison stood, throwing cash on the table. "Come on, Tamara. Let's go somewhere that doesn't smell like desperation and bad decisions." They left Veronica standing there, her face twisted in anger and hurt. In the car, Tamara finally relaxed. "That was intense. That was overdue. I should have been that clear with her months ago." Harrison took Tamara's hand. "I'm sorry you had to witness that." "I'm not. You stood up for us. For yourself. That takes courage. Being with you makes me brave." They drove to Harrison's penthouse, neither wanting to end the evening. His home was modern and beautiful, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. They stood at those windows, watching lights twinkle below, and Tamara felt like she was on top of the world. "Stay tonight," Harrison said quietly. "Really stay. Not just falling asleep on the couch." Tamara turned to face him, seeing the hope and vulnerability in his eyes. This was a line they hadn't crossed, a step that would make everything undeniably real. "Are you sure?" "I've never been more sure of anything." So Tamara stayed. And in the morning, waking up in Harrison's arms with sunlight streaming through those huge windows, she knew that whatever this was, whatever it became, she was all in. There was no going back now. The day of the Reed Foundation Gala arrived with perfect weather and absolute chaos. Tamara was at the venue by 6 a.m., directing vendors and checking every detail for the 100th time. Harrison appeared at 7 with coffee and breakfast. "You need to eat," he insisted, handing her a croissant. "I need to work." "Tamara." He turned her to face him. "Everything is perfect. You've checked everything 3 times. The only thing that could go wrong now is you collapsing from exhaustion." She took a bite of croissant, realizing she was starving. "Fine. But only because you're right." "I'm always right. Don't push it." By afternoon, the venue was transformed. The technology garden glowed even in daylight. Interactive displays waited for guests. Caterers set up stations with beautiful food. The string quartet practiced in the corner. It was everything Tamara had envisioned and more. Autumn arrived early, bringing Tamara a garment bag. "Mom sent this. She said you needed something special to wear tonight." Inside was a stunning royal blue gown, elegant and perfect for Tamara's figure. "I can't accept this." "You already did. Mom doesn't take no for an answer. Trust me on that." Autumn hugged her. "This gala is going to be amazing. Everyone's talking about it already." Guests started arriving at 7. Tamara watched from the sidelines, her heart racing as people entered the technology garden. Their faces lit up with wonder. Children pressed hands against interactive displays, laughing as flowers bloomed under their touch. Projections showed stories of students whose lives had been changed by the foundation's work. "It's perfect," Harrison said, appearing at her side. He looked incredible in his tuxedo, but it was the pride in his eyes when he looked at her that made Tamara's breath catch. "You've created something magical. We created it together. You had the vision. I just wrote checks." He took her hand. "Come on. You're not just the coordinator tonight. You're my date. Time to enjoy this. They mingled with guests, Harrison introducing Tamara to business leaders and celebrities and politicians. Everyone praised the event. Several people asked for Tamara's card, wanting to hire her for their own events. It was the professional breakthrough she dreamed of. But the best moment came when a young woman approached Harrison, tears in her eyes. "Mr. Reed, I'm Destiny. I graduated from one of the schools your foundation supports. I'm now studying computer science at MIT. I just wanted to thank you for changing my life." Harrison's composure cracked. He hugged the young woman, his own eyes wet. "You did the work. We just gave you the opportunity. And you changed everything." Destiny turned to Tamara. "This gala is beautiful. It tells our stories. Thank you for caring enough to make it real." After Destiny walked away, Harrison was quiet. Tamara squeezed his hand. "This is what it's all about. This is why you do it." "I know. But sometimes I forget. I get caught up in budgets and board meetings and lose sight of the actual people we're helping. Nights like this remind me why it matters." The gala raised over $5 million, double the previous record. As the last guests left and Tamara oversaw the cleanup, she felt a deep satisfaction. Not just because the event was successful but because it had meant something. Had helped people. Had created real change. Harrison found her at midnight, still directing the breakdown crew. "Come on. Let them finish. You've done enough. I need to make sure. They know what to do. And you're about to fall over." He pulled her gently away. "Let's go home." Home. He'd said it so naturally. And Tamara realized she was thinking of his penthouse as home too. When had that happened? They rode the elevator to his place in comfortable silence. Tamara leaned against Harrison, exhausted but happy. In his penthouse, she kicked off her heels and collapsed on the couch. "I can't believe we pulled that off." "You pulled it off. Don't downplay your achievement." Harrison sat beside her, pulling her feet into his lap and starting to massage them. "You're brilliant, Tamara Johnson. Tonight proved it to everyone who didn't already know. You're biased. I'm accurate." He looked at her seriously. "I'm proud of you. So proud I could burst. Thank you. For the opportunity, for believing in me, for everything. You don't have to thank me. Watching you work, seeing you succeed, that's all the thanks I need." He paused. "Actually, that's a lie. I do want something." "What?" "I want to stop pretending. I want to tell people this is real. I want to stop worrying about our 3-month agreement or what started this whole thing. I just want to be with you, publicly and privately, without any performance or pretense." Tamara sat up, her heart racing. "You want to make this official. I want to make this everything." Harrison took her hands. "I love you. I've been in love with you for weeks, maybe since that first night when you danced with me to save me from Veronica. I love your dedication and your kindness and your strength. I love how you make me laugh and how you challenge me to be better. I love who I am when I'm with you." "Harrison." "You don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. Whatever you want, however you want to do this, I'm in. All in. For as long as you'll have me." Tamara looked at this man who had started as a stranger, become a client, transformed into a friend, and somehow become essential. "I love you too. It terrifies me, but I do. I love your gentleness and your generosity and your terrible dad jokes. I love how you take care of people without expecting credit. I love that you see me, really see me, not just what I can do for you." Harrison pulled her close, kissing her with a depth of feeling that made Tamara's toes curl. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he rested his forehead against hers. "So we're really doing this? Real relationship, no contracts, no end dates. We're really doing this." "Good. Because I have plans for us." "What kind of plans?" "Meeting your mother properly. Taking you on a real vacation. Maybe getting a dog." He grinned. "I've never had a dog. Too busy building a company. But now I have someone to share it with, and I think we need a dog." Tamara laughed, the sound full of joy. "A dog? That's your big plan?" "It's a start. I have other plans too, but those are for later." They stayed up talking until sunrise, making plans and dreaming about the future. Tamara told Harrison about her hopes for Elegant Moments, about wanting to expand into a full-service firm. Harrison talked about new initiatives for the foundation, about maybe stepping back from the day-to-day running of Reed Technologies to focus on philanthropy. "We could do it together," he said. "You with your events expertise, me with my business experience. We could create something really special." "That sounds perfect. Maybe too perfect." "Why does perfect scare you?" "Because I'm used to things being hard. Used to struggling. It's so easy. I keep waiting for the other shoe to drop. Harrison pulled her closer. What if there is no other shoe? What if some things really are just meant to be? Tamara wanted to believe that. And looking at Harrison, seeing the love and certainty in his eyes, she found herself starting to believe. Over the next 2 weeks, they went public with their relationship. Not in a dramatic announcement, just in quiet, natural ways. Harrison stopped referring to Tamara as his friend in interviews. Tamara posted photos of them together without staged captions. They attended events as a couple, not as a business arrangement. The response was overwhelmingly positive. Clients flooded Elegant Moments with requests. Tamara hired 3 new employees and moved to a bigger office. She brought her mother to the grand opening, and Mrs. Johnson cried happy tears over what her daughter had built. "You did this all yourself," her mother said, looking around the bright new space. "Not all myself. Harrison helped. A lot of people helped. But you had the dream. You had the courage to chase it. That's all you, baby." Harrison's family embraced Tamara completely. She had dinner with them every Sunday, becoming genuinely close with Autumn. The sisters, because that's what they'd become, would spend hours talking about everything from career goals to favorite books to relationship advice. "I've never seen my brother this happy," Autumn said one afternoon over coffee. "Whatever you're doing, keep doing it. I'm just being myself. That's exactly what he needs. Someone real, someone who doesn't care about his money or status. Someone who loves him for him. I do love him. So much it scares me sometimes. Love should be a little scary. Otherwise it's not real." Autumn grinned. "Now when's the wedding?" "Mom's already planning it in her head. We've been together for barely 3 months. Officially together for like 2 weeks. Time doesn't matter when you know. And trust me, you both know." Tamara wanted to argue, but Autumn was right. She did know. When she woke up in Harrison's arms every morning, when she saw him across a room and her heart leaped, when he did little things like remembering her favorite tea or texting her during the day just to check in, she knew. This was it. He was it. But there was still a shadow over their happiness. Veronica. She'd gone quiet after the gala, which made both Harrison and Tamara nervous. Quiet Veronica was somehow more concerning than confrontational Veronica. "She's planning something," Harrison said one night. "I can feel it. Maybe she's finally moved on. Maybe. But I doubt it." They found out what Veronica had been planning when a gossip website published a story claiming that Tamara and Harrison's relationship had started as a paid arrangement. The article was carefully worded to avoid outright libel, but the implication was clear. Tamara was a gold digger who'd been hired to play Harrison's girlfriend. "This is Veronica's doing," Harrison said, his voice tight with anger. "She's the only one who knew about our arrangement. We need to get ahead of this." Tamara was surprisingly calm. "If we ignore it, it looks true. If we deny it too strongly, we look defensive. What do you suggest? We tell the truth. Our truth, not Veronica's twisted version." Tamara pulled out her phone. "We admit that yes, our relationship started as an arrangement. But we fall in love. Sometimes business becomes personal, and that's okay. We turn it into a love story instead of a scandal." Harrison stared at her. "You're a genius. I'm practical. And I'm not ashamed of how we started. What we have now is real. That's what matters." They crafted a statement together, honest and heartfelt. Harrison posted it on his social media, Tamara shared it on hers. The response was immediate and largely supportive. People loved the story of a fake relationship becoming real. But there were critics too. People who said Tamara had manipulated Harrison, that she was using him for money and status. The comments hurt, even though Tamara knew they weren't true. "Ignore them," Harrison advised. "We know the truth. The people who matter know the truth. The rest is just noise. Easy for you to say. You're used to public scrutiny. And you'll get used to it too. Or we can get better at ignoring it together." He kissed her temple. "I'm not letting gossip ruin what we have. Veronica's had enough power over my life. Not anymore." 2 days later, Veronica called Harrison. Tamara was there when he answered, putting it on speaker. "Congratulations on your PR spin," Veronica said, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Very clever. What do you want, Veronica?" "To apologize. I've been awful and I know it. I was hurt and angry and I lashed out. But seeing how happy you are with Tamara, I realize it's time to let go." She paused. "I'm seeing someone new. Someone who actually appreciates me. I just wanted you to know I'm moving on." Harrison and Tamara exchanged glances. "That's good, Veronica. I'm happy for you." "Are you? Really?" "Yes. I want you to be happy. I always did. We just weren't right for each other. No, we weren't. Veronica's voice softened. For what it's worth, I think Tamara is good for you. She makes you different. Better. Take care of each other, okay? After she hung up, Tamara let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. Do you think she meant that? I think she's trying to mean it. Whether she succeeds, time will tell. Harrison pulled Tamara into his arms. But I'm done letting her rent space in my head. From now on it's just us, building our life together. I like the sound of that. Me too. He kissed her slowly, thoroughly. I love you, Tamara Johnson. Every complicated, beautiful, stubborn part of you. I love you too. Even when you're being an overprotective billionaire. Especially when I'm being an overprotective billionaire, he corrected with a grin. That night, wrapped in each other's arms, Tamara felt a peace she'd never known before. The past was messy, the present was complicated, but the future looked bright. And as long as she had Harrison beside her, she believed they could handle anything. November arrived with cold weather and holiday preparations. Tamara had never been more grateful for central heating and Harrison's habit of keeping his penthouse warm. She'd basically moved in, though she still kept her apartment. Just in case, she told him. In case of what? Harrison asked, wrapping her in a blanket on the couch. I don't know. In case you get tired of me leaving my hair products all over your bathroom. I love your hair products all over my bathroom. It means you're here. You're such a sap. Only for you. Patricia Reed called on a Tuesday, inviting them to Thanksgiving at the family home. I won't take no for an answer, she said cheerfully. Autumn's bringing her new girlfriend, Robert's making his famous turkey, and I want my son and his wonderful girlfriend there. Tamara panicked. Thanksgiving is a big deal. What if they realize we're too different? What if I don't fit in with all your family traditions? They already love you. And we don't have weird traditions. We just eat too much and watch football and argue about politics. Harrison pulled her close. Please? I want you there. I want to spend the holiday with all the people I love in one place. So Tamara agreed. She brought 2 pies she'd made herself, nervous energy channeled into baking. Harrison carried them carefully to the car, treating them like precious cargo. These smell amazing. They're probably terrible. They're going to be perfect because you made them. The Reed house was warm and welcoming, decorated for the holidays. Autumn was already there with her girlfriend, Jamie, a friendly woman who taught elementary school. Robert was in the kitchen, arguing with Patricia about the proper way to make stuffing. It felt like a family, real and imperfect and wonderful. Tamara. Patricia hugged her immediately. Those pies look beautiful. Set them in the kitchen. Autumn, take her coat. Harrison, help your father before he ruins the stuffing. The afternoon passed in a blur of cooking and conversation. Tamara found herself chopping vegetables with Jamie while Autumn told embarrassing stories about Harrison's childhood. He once tried to code his way out of being grounded, Autumn said, laughing. Created a whole program to track his good behavior and present data to prove he deserved early release. Did it work? Tamara asked. Absolutely not. Mom deleted it and added another week. I was 12 and very serious about data analysis, Harrison protested from across the kitchen. You were a nerd and still are, Autumn replied affectionately. Dinner was chaotic and perfect. They squeezed around the table, passing dishes and talking over each other. Robert told dad jokes that made everyone groan. Patricia shared updates on her charity work. Autumn and Jamie told funny stories about their students. Harrison held Tamara's hand under the table, occasionally squeezing it like he couldn't believe she was really there. After dinner, while the others watched football in the living room, Robert pulled Tamara aside. Walk with me. They strolled through the garden, bundled in coats. The sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. I wanted to thank you, Robert said. For what? For bringing my son back to us. After Veronica, he pulled away. Became distant, focused only on work. But since he met you, he's different. Lighter. More like the boy I remember before life got so complicated. Tamara felt tears prick her eyes. He's easy to love. Is he? Because Patricia and I worried he'd never let anyone close again. That woman did a number on him, made him doubt his own judgment. Robert stopped walking, turning to face Tamara. But you see him clearly. Love him anyway. That's a gift. He does the same for me. I'm not easy either. I have baggage and trust issues and a tendency to push people away when I'm scared. And Harrison loves you through all of that. That's how you know it's real. Robert smiled. I'm glad he found you. Where you found him. However it happened, I'm grateful. That night, lying in Harrison's childhood bedroom, because Patricia insisted they stay over, Tamara felt overwhelmed with gratitude. Your family is amazing. They're yours too now. Harrison pulled her closer. My dad told me what he said to you. He's right, you know. You did bring me back to myself. You did the same for me. Before you, I was drowning, working myself to death trying to save a failing business and care for my sick mother. I had no joy, no hope. Just endless worry. And now I have everything. My mom is healthy, my business is thriving, and I have you. She turned to face him in the darkness. I never thought I could have this kind of happiness. It seemed like something for other people, not for me. You deserve every bit of happiness and more. Harrison kissed her forehead. I'm going to spend the rest of my life making sure you know that. The rest of your life? That's a pretty big commitment. I'm a pretty committed guy. Even in the dark, she could hear his smile. Is that okay? Me thinking about forever? It's more than okay. It's everything. The next morning, they had breakfast with the family before heading back to the city. Patricia packed them leftovers and made them promise to come back for Christmas. No excuses. You're part of this family now, Tamara. That means suffering through Robert's eggnog and my attempts at caroling. In the car, Harrison was quiet. Tamara studied his profile. What are you thinking about? My mother's engagement ring. It's in a safe deposit box downtown. I was thinking about having it resized. Tamara's heart stopped. Harrison. Too fast. He glanced at her nervously. I'm not proposing. Not yet. But I want you to know I'm thinking about it. About asking you to marry me when the time is right. When would the time be right? When you're ready to say yes. When you're sure this is what you want forever, not just for now. Tamara reached over and took his hand. I'm already sure. I've been sure for weeks. But I appreciate you wanting to wait to make sure I'm comfortable. So if I asked now, I'd say yes. Without hesitation. Harrison pulled the car over suddenly, parking on the side of the road. He turned to face her, his eyes bright. Really? Really? I love you. I want to build a life with you. Get a dog like you said. Maybe a house with a yard. Kids someday if you want them. I want everything with you. He cupped her face. Every adventure, every quiet morning, every challenge and triumph. I want all of it as long as it's with you. They kissed on the side of the road, traffic rushing past them, both crying and laughing at the same time. When they finally pulled apart, Harrison was grinning. I'm getting that ring resized tomorrow. Good. Because I'm saying yes whenever you ask. December flew by in a whirlwind of holiday events and year-end work. Elegant Moments was booked solid through the next spring. Tamara hired more staff, including her old assistant who she was thrilled to bring back. The new office was bustling with activity, full of creative energy and excitement. Harrison started transitioning leadership of Reed Technologies to his board, focusing more on the foundation and his relationship with Tamara. Life's too short to spend it all in boardrooms, he explained. I want time for what matters. They looked at houses together, dreaming about their future home. Tamara's mother joined them for some viewings, offering opinions and getting increasingly excited. My baby homeowner. I never thought I'd see this day. You're seeing a lot of days, Mom. That's what matters. Her mother's health continued to improve. The cancer was in remission, and doctors were cautiously optimistic about long-term survival. She'd regained weight and energy, looking more like her old self. Watching her mother laugh and plan and dream about the future, Tamara felt profound gratitude for Harrison's help that had made it all possible. Christmas Eve arrived cold and clear. Harrison had convinced Tamara to attend his family's annual party, a tradition that brought together extended family and close friends. She wore a red dress Patricia had helped her pick out, and Harrison wore a matching red tie. We're adorable, Tamara said, looking at their reflection. We're nauseating, Harrison corrected with a grin. But I don't care. The party was magical. The Reed house was decorated floor to ceiling with lights and garland. A huge tree dominated the living room. Relatives Tamara had never met welcomed her warmly. Children ran around with the energy only kids on Christmas Eve possess. Harrison's grandfather, a spry 90-year-old, pulled Tamara aside. You're the one who's got my grandson smiling again. I try, sir. Call me Pops. Everyone does. He studied her with sharp blue eyes. You love him? For real, not for his money? For real. The money just complicates things, honestly. Pops laughed, a hearty sound. Good answer. You'll do just fine in this family. He leaned closer conspiratorially. He's going to propose tonight. Saw him sneaking the ring into his pocket earlier. Tamara's heart leaped. Tonight. Tonight. So act surprised, will you? Boy's been practicing his speech for weeks. Tamara tried to act normal for the rest of the party, but her heart wouldn't stop racing. She kept glancing at Harrison looking for signs, but he seemed relaxed and happy, showing no indication of nerves. As midnight approached, Harrison suggested they step outside for some air. The backyard was quiet, fairy lights twinkling in the trees. Snow had started falling, soft and perfect. Tamara could see her breath in the cold air. "I have something I want to say," Harrison began. "Harrison, let me get this out before I lose my nerve." He took both her hands. "I had a whole speech planned. Something eloquent about how you changed my life, about how every day with you is a gift. But standing here looking at you, all those carefully chosen words seem inadequate. You're doing fine so far. Tamara Johnson, you are the bravest, kindest, most remarkable person I've ever met. You held my hand when I was a panicked stranger in a garden. You took a chance on a crazy arrangement that should never have worked. You loved me when I was messy and complicated and came with an ex-fiancé who wouldn't take a hint." Tamara laughed through her tears. "You forgot to mention stubborn and occasionally irrational. Those two." Harrison smiled, then got down on one knee. Tamara's breath caught. "You make me want to be better. To do more. To live fully instead of just existing. And I want to spend the rest of my life making you as happy as you've made me." He pulled out a vintage ring, the diamond catching the fairy lights. "This was my grandmother's. My mother wanted you to have it if you'll have me. Tamara, will you marry me?" "Yes." The word came out as a sob. "Yes, absolutely yes." Harrison stood and slipped the ring on her finger, then pulled her into a kiss that felt like coming home. Around them, snow fell and lights twinkled, and Tamara thought she'd never been happier in her entire life. The back door burst open and the entire family poured out, cheering and crying. "We were watching through the window," Autumn admitted, hugging them both. "We couldn't help it. You all knew." Tamara looked around at the smiling faces. "For weeks," Patricia said, pulling her into a hug. "Welcome to the family officially, sweetheart." The rest of the night was a blur of congratulations and champagne and tears of joy. Tamara called her mother, who screamed so loud Harrison could hear it through the phone. "My baby's getting married to a good man. I can die happy now." "Mom, don't talk about dying. You're going to live to see your grandchildren." "Grandchildren? Already planning those, are you?" Tamara blushed. "Not yet. But someday." Later, back at Harrison's penthouse, which Tamara now thought of as their penthouse, they lay in bed, Tamara admiring her ring. "I still can't believe this is real." "Believe it? You're stuck with me now." Harrison kissed her shoulder. "Any regrets?" "None. Not a single one." She turned to face him. "Thank you for being stubborn enough to grab my hand in that garden. Thank you for seeing something in me worth investing in. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for saying yes. Both times." Harrison pulled her close. "We're going to have an amazing life together." "We already do." They fell asleep tangled together, the city lights twinkling beyond the windows. Outside, snow continued to fall, covering everything in white. And inside, two people who'd started as strangers, become fake partners and fallen into real love, dreamed about their future. A future that looked brighter than either had ever imagined possible. January brought wedding planning and the reality of merging two lives completely. Tamara finally gave up her apartment, moving the last of her things into Harrison's penthouse. Their penthouse now, she reminded herself. The closet was rearranged to accommodate both their wardrobes. Her books filled previously empty shelves. Her mother's quilt draped over the couch. "It looks like a home now," Harrison said, surveying the changes. "Before it was just a place I slept. Now it's ours." They set the wedding date for late spring, giving them time to plan something meaningful without rushing. Patricia was overjoyed to help, though she promised not to take over. "This is your day. I'm just here to support and occasionally offer opinions you're free to ignore." Tamara's mother joined the planning sessions, her health strong enough now to participate fully. Watching their mothers bond over flower arrangements and venue options made Tamara's heart full. "They're going to be best friends by the wedding," she told Harrison. "They already are. They were texting each other before we even got engaged, comparing notes on us." "That's terrifying." "That's family." Work kept both of them busy. Elegant Moments was thriving beyond Tamara's wildest dreams. She'd moved to an even larger space and now employed 8 people. The gala had put her on the map and high-profile clients were calling weekly. She loved the work but felt stretched thin. "You need to delegate more," Harrison advised during dinner one night. "You've hired good people. Trust them." "I do trust them. I just also want to make sure everything is perfect. Everything is already perfect. You're just a control enthusiast. Control enthusiast. That's a nice way of saying control freak. I'm being diplomatic. He grinned, then turned serious. But really, Tamara, you're working 60-hour weeks again. I thought the point of success was to have a better work-life balance. Says the man who just spent 3 days straight in board meetings. That was transitioning leadership. It won't be like that forever. Harrison took her hand. I want us to have time together. To travel, to relax, to just be. I want that too. I'm just scared that if I slow down, everything will fall apart. It won't. You've built something solid. Now let yourself enjoy it. Tamara knew he was right. She started delegating more, trusting her team to handle details she used to micromanage. It was hard at first, letting go of control. But gradually she found herself with more free time. Time to have lunch with Harrison. Time to visit her mother without rushing. Time to just breathe. She and Harrison started looking seriously at houses, finding a beautiful place with a garden and space for the dog they'd promised themselves. It needed renovation, but they both loved it immediately. This is it, Tamara said, standing in the empty living room. This is home. Should we put in an offer? Absolutely. Their offer was accepted within days. They spent weekends at the house, planning renovations and dreaming about their future. Harrison wanted a library. Tamara wanted a craft room for event planning. They both wanted a big kitchen for the family dinners they planned to host. I never thought I'd care about things like kitchen islands, Harrison said, looking at tile samples. I never thought I'd be picking tile samples with a billionaire fiancé. Life is strange. Strange but good. One afternoon, while Tamara was at the house meeting with contractors, Autumn showed up unexpectedly. Hey, got a minute? They sat on the front steps, watching workers carry materials inside. What's up? Tamara asked. I need to tell you something, and I don't know how you're going to take it. Autumn looked nervous, which was unusual. She was normally so confident. You're scaring me. It's not bad exactly. It's just information you should have. Autumn took a deep breath. I ran into Veronica's best friend Rachel at a coffee shop yesterday. She was drunk and feeling chatty. She told me that Veronica never actually moved on. The new boyfriend she mentioned? He doesn't exist. She made him up to save face. Tamara's stomach dropped. Is she still fixated on Harrison? Rachel says she's obsessed. Follows his social media constantly, knows everything about your wedding plans. She's convinced that if she waits long enough, he'll come back to her. Autumn put a hand on Tamara's arm. I don't want to freak you out. I just thought you should know. Does Harrison know? Not yet. I wanted to tell you first, woman to woman. You deserve to decide how to handle this. Tamara felt cold despite the mild weather. They'd thought the Veronica situation was resolved. But if she was still obsessed, still waiting, what did that mean for their future? Thank you for telling me. I need to talk to Harrison. That night, Tamara told Harrison what Autumn had revealed. His face went pale, then red with anger. I can't believe this. I thought we were done dealing with her. She's not well, Harrison. This level of obsession isn't normal. I know. Which makes it scarier. He paced the penthouse, running his hands through his hair. What do we do? Get a restraining order? Hire security? Move to a different city? We don't run. We handle it. Tamara was calmer than she felt. But we do need to be careful. No more posting our location on social media. No sharing wedding details publicly. Keep things private until after the fact. I hate that she's still affecting our lives. She's taken up too much space in my head already. Then we minimize that space. We focus on us, on our wedding, on our life. And if she escalates, we deal with it legally and definitively. Tamara pulled Harrison into a hug. We're stronger together than her obsession. We can handle this. But handling it proved harder than Tamara expected. The knowledge that Veronica was watching, waiting, made her paranoid. She started checking over her shoulder, looking for familiar faces in crowds, wondering if that woman across the restaurant was Veronica or just someone who looked similar. Harrison noticed her tension. Talk to me. I'm scared, Tamara admitted. Not for me exactly. But for us. What if she does something to ruin the wedding? What if she shows up and makes a scene? What if she finds a way to hurt you? She won't. I've hired a security consultant. He's assessing potential vulnerabilities and making recommendations. The wedding venue will have security. Our house will have an alarm system. We're taking this seriously. I don't want to live in fear. We won't. But we'll be smart. There's a difference between paranoia and reasonable caution. The security measures helped, but Tamara still felt unsettled. She threw herself into work and wedding planning, trying to stay busy enough not to worry. But at night, alone with her thoughts, the fear crept in. One evening, Harrison found her crying in the bathroom. "Sweetheart, what's wrong? What if this doesn't work? What if loving you means spending my life looking over my shoulder, worrying about crazy ex-girlfriends, never feeling completely safe?" Harrison knelt beside her, taking her hands. "First, you are safe. I will always make sure you're safe. Second, Veronica is one person with issues. She doesn't define our entire future. And third, I'm not letting her win by making us miserable. But what if she never stops? Then we deal with it. Together. For as long as it takes." He wiped her tears. "I love you. I'm marrying you. No ex-girlfriend, no matter how obsessed, is going to change that. We're stronger than her issues." Tamara wanted to believe him. She tried to believe him. But the fear lingered, a shadow over what should have been the happiest time of her life. A week later things came to a head. Tamara arrived at work to find her office vandalized. Nothing was stolen, but files were scattered, her computer was smashed, and someone had spray-painted, "He'll never be yours," across her desk. The police came. Security footage showed a woman in a hood entering the building after hours. The face wasn't visible, but the body type matched Veronica. Harrison showed up within 15 minutes of Tamara's call, his face white with fury. "That's it. I'm getting a restraining order. I'm pressing charges. I'm doing whatever it takes to stop this." He pulled Tamara into his arms. "I'm so sorry. This is my fault." "It's not your fault. You didn't make her like this. But you're dealing with the consequences of my past relationship. That's not fair to you. Life isn't fair. We deal with what comes and move forward." Tamara was surprised by her own calm. The fear had crystallized into determination. "She wants to scare me. To make me leave you. But I'm not going anywhere. She doesn't get to win." The police investigation confirmed it was Veronica. She'd used a stolen keycard to enter the building. Between the vandalism and the previous harassment, there was enough evidence for charges. Harrison's lawyer moved quickly, filing for a restraining order and pressing criminal charges. Veronica was arrested the next day. At her arraignment, she looked small and broken, nothing like the polished woman who'd confronted them at events. The judge ordered her to stay away from both Harrison and Tamara, and she was released pending trial. "Is it over?" Tamara asked as they left the courthouse. "I think so. The charges are serious. Her lawyer is recommending she get psychological help. Her family is involved now, making sure she gets treatment." Harrison squeezed her hand. "I'm sorry you had to go through this. We went through it together. That's what matters." That night, holding each other in their bedroom, Tamara finally felt the tension release. It had been terrifying and stressful, but they'd handled it together. They'd been a team, supporting each other through fear and uncertainty. "I love you," she whispered. "I love you more." "Not possible. Want to bet?" They fell asleep arguing playfully about who loved who more, and Tamara realized that this, right here, was what marriage would be. Facing challenges together. Supporting each other through scary times. Coming out stronger on the other side. She couldn't wait to officially become Harrison's wife. February brought warmer weather and forward momentum. The Veronica situation was being handled through legal channels, allowing Harrison and Tamara to focus on happier things. Their house renovations were progressing beautifully. Wedding plans were solidifying. Life felt like it was finally settling into something stable and good. Then Autumn showed up at Tamara's office unannounced on a Tuesday afternoon, practically bouncing with excitement. "You need to come with me right now. I'm working. This is more important. Trust me." Autumn grabbed Tamara's coat. "Come on." They drove to an animal shelter across town. Tamara looked at Autumn suspiciously. "What are we doing here?" "Harrison has been talking about getting a dog for months. I figured we'd surprise him." Autumn grinned. "Plus, I want to be favorite sister, and helping you pick out a dog will definitely earn me points." "You're his only sister." "Exactly. I need to maintain my position." The shelter was full of dogs of all sizes and breeds. They walked slowly past cages, each dog vying for attention. Tamara's heart broke seeing so many animals without homes. "I want to adopt them all." "Harrison would actually let you. He's a total softie." Autumn stopped at a cage holding a medium-sized golden mix. "Look at this one." The dog was beautiful, with intelligent brown eyes and a wagging tail. The card on the cage said his name was Cooper, age 3, found as a stray but friendly and well-trained. When Tamara knelt down, Cooper came to the front of the cage, putting his nose against her hand through the bars. "He likes you," the shelter worker said. "Cooper's been here for 2 months. He's the sweetest dog we have, but people keep passing him over for puppies. Can we meet him?" They took Cooper to a play yard. He was gentle and affectionate, sitting nicely for treats and fetching a ball with enthusiasm. Tamara was in love immediately. "We're taking him. Harrison's going to die when he sees him." "You're sure? This is a big decision." "I'm sure. This is our dog." Tamara filled out the adoption paperwork while Autumn bought supplies. An hour later they were driving back with Cooper in the back seat, his head resting on Tamara's shoulder. Harrison wasn't home yet, so they waited in the penthouse. Cooper explored curiously, sniffing everything and seeming to approve. When Harrison's key turned in the lock, Tamara positioned herself on the couch with Cooper beside her. "Tamara, I'm home. Sorry I'm late, the meeting ran." Harrison stopped dead when he saw the dog. "Is that a dog?" "This is Cooper. He's ours now." "Surprise?" Harrison's face went through several emotions: shock, confusion, then pure joy. He knelt down and Cooper went to him immediately, tail wagging frantically. "Hey buddy. Welcome home." Watching Harrison cuddle their new dog, Tamara felt overwhelming happiness. This was family. This was home. This was everything she'd never known she wanted. "Thank you," Harrison said, looking up at her with wet eyes. "This is the best surprise ever." "Autumn helped. She drove me to the shelter. Remind me to make Autumn favorite sister." "I'm your only sister," Autumn called from the kitchen where she was filling Cooper's water bowl. The next few days were an adjustment. Cooper was well behaved but needed routine. They learned his quirks. He loved squeaky toys but was terrified of the vacuum cleaner. He slept at the foot of their bed. He was excellent at begging for food with sad eyes that were impossible to resist. "We're going to spoil him rotten," Harrison said, giving Cooper another treat. "Already have." Walking Cooper became part of their evening routine. They'd stroll through the neighborhood talking about their days and making plans. Other dog owners would stop to chat, and suddenly they had a social circle of people who knew nothing about Harrison's money or Tamara's growing business success. Just friendly neighbors who liked dogs. "I feel normal," Harrison said one night, throwing a ball for Cooper in the park. "For the first time in years, I feel like a regular person doing regular things." "You are a regular person. You just happen to have an abnormal bank balance." "You know what I mean. This walking our dog, planning our wedding, arguing over what to have for dinner. It's exactly what I always wanted." "Me too." Mid-February brought an unexpected call. Rachel, Veronica's friend, wanted to meet with Tamara. Harrison was immediately suspicious. It could be a trap. Or it could be someone trying to help. "I'll meet her in a public place. It'll be fine." They met at a busy cafe downtown. Rachel looked tired, her usual polish gone. "Thank you for meeting me. I wasn't sure you would. I'm curious why you wanted to talk." "To apologize. And to explain." Rachel stirred her coffee nervously. Veronica wasn't always like this. She used to be funny and kind. But after her dad died and she lost her job, something broke in her. She became obsessed with security, with finding someone who could take care of her financially. When she met Harrison, she saw him as the answer to all her problems. "That's not love." "I know. I tried to tell her that. But she couldn't see it. And when Harrison called off the engagement, it shattered her worldview. She couldn't accept that she'd pushed away a genuinely good man by being dishonest. Rachel met Tamara's eyes. "What she did to you, the harassment and the vandalism, that's not okay. I'm not excusing it. I just wanted you to understand she's sick, not evil." "I appreciate that. But understanding why she did it doesn't make it okay." "I know. She's getting help now. Real help. Therapy, medication, the works." Her family finally stepped in. Rachel paused. "She asked me to tell you something. She's sorry. She knows sorry doesn't fix anything, but she wanted you to know. And she's going to plead guilty to the charges. She's not going to drag this out or make it harder for you." Tamara felt unexpected sympathy. "I hope she gets better. Really gets better, not just for us but for herself." "Me too. She used to be my best friend. I want that person back." Rachel stood to leave. "You and Harrison, you're good together. I've seen the photos, read the stories. That's what real love looks like. I'm glad he found it, even if it wasn't with Veronica." After Rachel left, Tamara sat alone with her thoughts. It was easy to demonize Veronica, to make her the villain. But she was just a broken person who'd made terrible choices. That didn't excuse the harm, but it made her human. flawed and struggling like everyone else. She called Harrison to tell him about the meeting. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Sad mostly. For everyone involved. But also grateful that it's ending. It's ending because we're strong. Because we didn't let her chaos break us." Harrison's voice was warm. "I'll see you at home. I'm picking up Thai food on the way. Extra spring rolls? Do you even have to ask?" That night, eating takeout on the floor because Cooper had claimed the couch, Tamara felt profound contentment. This was her life now. A man she loved, a dog she adored, a career she'd built, a mother who was healthy. Everything she'd struggled for, fought for, nearly given up hope for. "What are you thinking about?" Harrison asked, feeding Cooper a piece of chicken when he thought Tamara wasn't looking. "I saw that. And I'm thinking about how lucky I am. We're lucky. Both of us." He raised his water bottle. "To us." To Cooper. "To normal evenings with Thai food and a spoiled dog." "To us," Tamara echoed, clinking her bottle against his. March brought spring and final wedding preparations. They decided on an intimate ceremony in the garden of their new house, which would be finished just in time. Only family and close friends, maybe 50 people total. Patricia was helping coordinate with a joy that made Tamara's heart full. "I always dreamed of planning my son's wedding," Patricia said during a cake tasting. "Though I imagined it differently. Less drama with ex-fiancés, more normal timeline." "Nothing about us is normal," Harrison said cheerfully. "Thank goodness for that. Normal is boring." Patricia squeezed Tamara's hand. "You've made my son happier than I've ever seen him. That's all that matters." Tamara's mother was equally excited, though she kept crying at random moments. "My baby's getting married. To a man who loves her. In a house she owns. I never thought I'd see this day." "You're going to see lots of days, Mom. You're healthy now. Thanks to your husband-to-be. I owe him everything." "You don't owe him anything. He loves you because I love you. That's how family works." The week before the wedding, Harrison and Tamara had their bachelor and bachelorette parties. Autumn organized Tamara's, a spa day followed by dinner at Tamara's favorite restaurant. No wild clubs or excessive drinking, just good friends celebrating together. "I'm so happy for you," one of Tamara's college friends said over dessert. "You deserve all this happiness after everything you've been through. I feel like I'm dreaming sometimes." "You're not. This is real. You made it real by being brave enough to take chances." Her friend raised her glass. To Tamara, who took a leap of faith and landed somewhere wonderful. Harrison's bachelor party was similarly low-key. Dinner with his father, grandfather, and a few close friends. Robert called Tamara afterward. "Just wanted you to know my son is absolutely besotted with you. He spent the entire evening talking about how excited he is to marry you. That makes two of us." "Good. You two are going to have a wonderful life together." The night before the wedding, following tradition, Harrison stayed at his parents' house while Tamara stayed at the penthouse. It felt strange being apart after months of always being together. Even Cooper seemed confused, looking for Harrison in all his usual spots. "He'll be back tomorrow," Tamara told the dog. "And then we're all moving into our new house and living happily ever after." Cooper wagged his tail, seemingly satisfied with this explanation. Tamara's phone rang. "Harrison. I miss you," he said. "It's been 3 hours. Longest 3 hours of my life. Is it midnight yet? Can we get married?" "Not how it works." Tamara smiled. "But I miss you too. Tomorrow can't come fast enough. I can't wait to call you my wife. I can't wait to be your wife." They talked until late about nothing and everything. When they finally said goodnight, Tamara lay in bed feeling overwhelmingly grateful. 6 months ago she'd been drowning in debt and fear. Now she was hours away from marrying the love of her life. Her phone buzzed with a text from Autumn. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow's going to be perfect. Love you, sister." Tamara smiled. She had a sister now. A whole family. A life so full it sometimes took her breath away. She fell asleep thinking about tomorrow, about walking through their garden to meet Harrison, about saying vows that would bind them together forever. And when she dreamed of happiness, of love, of a future brighter than anything she'd ever imagined. Have you ever watched love transform someone's entire life? Do you believe in taking chances on happiness even when you're scared? Let us know your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe to see how Tamara and Harrison's love story reaches its perfect ending. The morning of the wedding dawned clear and perfect. Tamara woke to sunshine streaming through the windows and a text from Harrison. "Good morning, future wife. Can't wait to marry you in approximately 8 hours. She smiled, typing back, "Good morning, future husband." Try not to trip walking down the aisle. Patricia and Autumn arrived at 9 with breakfast, coffee, and enough energy to power a small city. Today's the day. Autumn squealed, hugging Tamara. You're officially joining the family. I thought I already joined the family. Legally though. Now Mom can't get rid of you even if she wanted to. Why would I want to get rid of her? Patricia asked, setting up breakfast. Tamara's my favorite child. Mom? I'm kidding. Mostly. They spent the morning relaxing and preparing. Tamara's mother arrived with the hairstylist, tears already streaming down her face. My baby looks so beautiful. Mom, I'm in pajamas. Still beautiful. The house looked stunning. The renovations were complete, the garden was in full bloom, and white chairs were arranged in neat rows facing an archway covered in flowers. Tamara had designed the ceremony herself, keeping it simple but meaningful. This was their home, the place they'd build their life together. Having the wedding here felt right. As afternoon approached and Tamara put on her wedding dress, a simple ivory gown with lace sleeves, she felt surprisingly calm. No nerves, no second thoughts. Just certainty that she was making the right choice. You're not nervous at all, are you? Autumn asked, zipping up the dress. Not even a little. I'm marrying my best friend. Why would I be nervous? Most brides are terrified. Most brides haven't spent months fake dating their groom first. We've already been through fire together. The wedding is just making it official. Autumn hugged her carefully. I'm so glad Harrison found you. You've made our whole family happier. The ceremony was scheduled for 4 o'clock. At 1:45, Tamara's mother came to get her. It's time, baby. They walked through the house to the back door. Through the windows, Tamara could see guests seated, Harrison standing under the flower arch with his father beside him as best man. He looked incredible in his navy suit, nervous and excited and perfect. You ready? Her mother asked. More than ready. The music started. Autumn walked down the aisle first, beaming at everyone. Then it was Tamara's turn. She stepped out into the garden, her arm linked through her mother's, and the world seemed to stop. Harrison's face when he saw her was everything. Pure love, pure joy, pure certainty. He wiped at his eyes, not bothering to hide his tears. Tamara was crying too, happy tears that wouldn't stop flowing. Her mother delivered her to Harrison, kissing both their cheeks. Take care of each other, she whispered. We will, they said in unison. The officiant, one of Harrison's family friends, smiled at them. We're gathered here to celebrate the marriage of Harrison and Tamara, two people who found each other in the most unexpected way and built something extraordinary together. The ceremony was short and sweet. They exchanged traditional vows, then added their own. Harrison went first, his voice shaking slightly. Tamara, you grabbed my hand in a garden when I was panicking, and you haven't let go since. You've made me braver, kinder, better. You've given me a reason to live fully instead of just existing. I promise to support your dreams, hold your hand through challenges, and love you with everything I have for the rest of our lives. Tamara had to pause to collect herself before speaking. Harrison, you saw me at my worst and offered help without judgment. You believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. You gave me hope when I thought I was out of options. I promise to be your partner in everything, to laugh with you during good times and hold you during hard times, and to love you exactly as you are for the rest of our lives. The rings? The officiant prompted. Robert handed Harrison a ring, Autumn gave one to Tamara. They slid them onto each other's fingers, symbols of the commitment they were making. By the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Harrison, you may kiss your bride. Harrison cupped Tamara's face gently. Hello, wife. Hello, husband. They kissed as everyone cheered. Cooper barked from where he was sitting with Patricia, making everyone laugh. When they finally broke apart, they were both grinning like fools. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Reed. They walked back down the aisle hand in hand, stopping to hug family and accept congratulations. Patricia was crying, Robert was beaming, Autumn was taking a million photos. Tamara's mother kept saying, my baby's married, over and over. The reception was in the backyard, with tables set up around the garden and a small dance floor. The food was excellent, the music was perfect, and the speeches were heartfelt. Robert talked about watching Harrison grow from a serious child into a caring man. Tamara's mother shared stories about her daughter's determination and strength. Autumn's speech was the best. I've watched my brother date several women over the years and none of them were right. They wanted him for his money or his status, not for who he really was. Then came Tamara, who argued with him about event planning and treated him like a normal person. I knew she was different immediately. And when I saw how happy he was with her, how much lighter and freer, I knew she was the one. Harrison and Tamara, you found each other in the strangest way possible. But some of the best love stories start unexpectedly. Here's to a lifetime of surprising each other in the best ways. Their first dance was to a jazz song, honoring Harrison's mother and her love of music. They swayed together, ignoring everyone else, lost in their own world. We did it, Harrison whispered. We're actually married. Best decision I ever made. Second best. First was saying yes when I asked you to fake date me. That was your decision. I just went along with it. Thank goodness you did. As the evening progressed, Tamara found moments to talk with everyone. Her old co-workers who'd stayed with elegant moments through the hard times. Harrison's colleagues from Reed Technologies. Family members from both sides now united. Everyone was genuinely happy, celebrating not just a wedding but a love story that had overcome obstacles. Around 9, Harrison pulled Tamara aside. Come with me. I want to show you something. He led her to the house, to the library they designed together. On the shelves were photos from their relationship. That first night at the wedding where they'd met, various public dates, quiet moments at home, the day they'd adopted Cooper. But there was also a new photo in a prominent frame. It was from today, right after the ceremony, both of them laughing with pure joy. This is our story, Harrison said. All of it. The fake beginning, the complicated middle, the happy ending. I wanted it documented, displayed, remembered. Because every part of it matters. Every moment brought us here. Tamara was crying again. You're going to make me ruin my makeup. You're beautiful even with ruined makeup. He pulled her close. I love you, Mrs. Reed. I love you too, Mr. Reed. They kissed in their library, in their house, at their wedding. And Tamara thought about how far they'd come from that desperate moment in a garden when a panicked billionaire had begged her for 5 minutes of help. Those 5 minutes had changed everything. They returned to the reception for cake cutting and more dancing. Cooper somehow got loose and ran through the party, stealing food from unattended plates and making everyone laugh. That's our dog, Harrison said proudly. As midnight approached and guests started leaving, Tamara and Harrison stood at the door thanking everyone for coming. Patricia hugged them both. Welcome to married life. It's the best adventure. We're ready for it, Tamara said. I know you are. You two can handle anything together. Finally everyone was gone. The caterers cleaned up while Tamara and Harrison walked through their garden, now lit only by fairy lights and moonlight. Cooper trotted beside them, tired but happy. What a day, Tamara said, leaning against Harrison. Best day of my life. Well, tied with the day we adopted Cooper and the day your mom got her good health news and the day you agreed to marry me. So basically every day with me is the best day. Exactly. He stopped walking, turning to face her. Thank you for taking a chance on a desperate stranger in a garden. Thank you for agreeing to a crazy fake dating scheme. Thank you for falling in love with me. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for seeing something in me worth investing in. Thank you for helping my mother. Thank you for being patient while I figured out I loved you. Thank you for being exactly who you are. They kissed under the stars in the garden of their home on their wedding night. Cooper sat nearby, watching them with what looked like approval. Should we go inside? Harrison asked eventually. In a minute. I want to remember this. This perfect moment when everything is exactly right. So they stood there a little longer, holding each other, grateful for the strange circumstances that had brought them together and the love that had made them stay. Inside, their house waited, full of possibilities and promise. Tomorrow they'd leave for their honeymoon in Italy. Next month, they'd celebrate Tamara's mother's 1-year cancer-free anniversary. Next year, maybe they'd talk seriously about starting a family. But tonight was just about them. About a love that had started as pretend and become the most real thing in either of their lives. Ready now? Harrison asked. Ready. They walked inside with Cooper, closing the door on their wedding day and opening it to their marriage. And as they climbed the stairs to their bedroom, both of them felt the same thing, gratitude. For second chances, for unexpected meetings, for love that surprised them. For 5 minutes in a garden that had changed absolutely everything. The end? No, Tamara thought as Harrison pulled her close. Not the end. Just the beginning. The best beginning possible.